All right, everybody, how's it going? Got a little project here, a little roadside rescue. This was kind of put out to the curb, to the trash, and I've had it in the engine shed now almost a year. The only thing I did to it to find out if it would run was put some pre-mixed fuel in here, and it started leaking out the bottom. I don't know what else could be wrong with it, so it could be a number of things. This will be the first I get into it other than doing that. So first thing I want to do is take off this nozzle so we have a little bit more room to work on it on the bench. So we'll be right back. Okay, so we got the nozzle off. It's two-piece. The first half comes off pretty easily, and the second half you have to push down this tab, and there's a collar, and you have to kind of release that. When we put it back together, I'll show you that. But what we're down to now is we're going to take this front cover off and see what's going on around the carburetor, see if we can see why it was leaking fuel. That might be all that's wrong with it. Now, this brand takes these Torx bits, and a great way to get the Torx tools is just buy a set of bits. This Ryobi set I bought to get a square drive for a different project, but it came with a bunch of Torx bits, so I dumped them out. I found the appropriate one. We've got 3, 1, 2, 3 to take off, to take this cover off. And I'm going to use it in this Ryobi. This is for a power drill, but I put it on a Stanley hand screwdriver that takes different bits. I have a Phillips in there now. I took that out, put this bit in, magnet sucks it in, and then we can start taking these bolts off. You know, a lot cheaper than buying the specialized tools, just get the bits. So let's get started. Oh boy, that's really in there. We got it, we broke it free. Boy, oh boy, that's in there. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, they're broken free. So let's take them out. Now, I've never worked on one of these Stihl leaf blowers, so I'm kind of just stabbing along the way I think I should. Other people may have a better method, and that's great, but I'm just kind of walking myself through. I might need to take this off, and I might not. Let's see. Actually, I didn't have to take that off. It's going to come off very nicely to reveal. Look at that beautifulness. And there she is. Pretty neat. This does turn. This engine turns quite easily. There is compression because I just felt it there. So pretty neat. Looks pretty clean in there. And next step, try to see why the fuel is leaking. All right. All right, everybody, check it out. To the best of my ability, I inspected visually the fuel lines going into the carburetor, the intake, and the return line. Even the filter inside looks super clean. When I put some premix in it before, it leaked out the bottom. So there may be a crack in the tank, you know, some kind of breach in the tank. So I'm going to check it out. And I thought the best way to do that is not dump more fuel in, but to see where the leak is, use some of this rubbing alcohol. Now, in the last 2 months, this has been a precious commodity. Around here, you'd have to mail order it because it was sold off the shelves, all sold out. It's back in stock at its original low price. I'm going to put some in, and over a catch can, an aluminum foil pan, and see if we have any leaks. See if there's a crack in the tank. This stuff evaporates, but if there's any residual fuel or two-stroke oil in there, I want to catch it in the can. I don't want to dump it into my soil. Just the right thing to do. And I like to recycle and all that. I don't like to pollute the ground. So for anybody out there concerned about that, it's going to be totally safe. We'll get back to you. All right, so no cracked fuel tank, as we can see. When I did the check with the rubbing alcohol, when I primed it and I got the lines full of fuel or the alcohol, we had a little leak. We addressed that, no problem, drained it out. We're all excited. Pulled the spark plug, checked for spark. I don't have spark. So that's where we're at. So we're gonna have to go into it a little bit farther. All right, no spark. I can't see why. I can't imagine it would be the coil. So inside the handle is where these wires lead up to. The wires on the coil look good. So we're going to try to trace a problem up here. So with the reverse side of the handle, there's a little tab I'm going to show you. And right there. And that's kind of a ground. That's a connection that goes to right there. Kind of lays on there. So we're going to clean up that connection. And other than that, there's a blue and black wire that go in there. Connections for there. I don't really want to be going in and, taking off this and taking off that. But if need be, we'll go in there and give it a double check. So that's what's next. We got to get spark, folks. Okay, I removed this. I want to get in there and see what's going on. One thing I see is a switch. That's activated. That's off. That's on. It's in the on position. So that's part of the safety switch. So who knows? That could be the culprit too. I mean, there could be a problem in there. So as we slide this out carefully, I'm going to clean up all the contacts and try to test it and see if that's the problem. If that's a problem, we have to order a new switch. But it might be something more simple that I've overlooked with this engine, but it doesn't hurt to clean it up and button it back up, and that might be the problem. We have to look into it, that's all. All right, so moving along here, I want to take this switch and disconnect it and just spray it with some of this. CRC electric parts cleaner. It's good stuff. It dries clean. So you probably don't need to see this, but I'm going to try to do it. These should slide off. Try to get these disconnected. Easier said than done. But we want to clean up these contacts. All right, let me get those apart and we'll be right back to you. All right, that wasn't so bad. The last video I did, spent too much time with people watching me try to figure out the instructions on something. So I figured we'd cut and do that. This looks pretty clean. We're going to give it a little shot of CRC. All right, I'll lay that down. And these are the contacts that went in. So we had this one. Spray that, and the inside of this one, humidity and all that can get in. So we'll let that kind of dry and then get back to reassembly. All right, I thought something was worth noting. I tried to put this back together and it wasn't jiving. I put the linkage back in, it just didn't fit. I couldn't figure it out. I'm not an expert on these, so I went back to my old video of taking it apart and what it looked like before, and now I've got it back together. Now everything jives. Very simple, but I had everything turned around, and that's how the way it goes sometimes. So very important to take pictures or videos of your projects if you're not an expert, so you can put it back together in the same reverse order. That's it. Let's move on. Alright, putting this handle back on. I had the screws in it. Almost impossible to line up, so I took them all out. And the reason I took them all out, I was going to leave one in, is because of right here. This has to mate with that. So that's the first thing we have to put together to make sure it works before we can put the fasteners in. So we can squeeze that together, and this seems to work. Our trigger lock, which it does, then we've got the right orientation. Now we can run in our other bolts. So I'll start with the center bolt. And you could start with any one. I'm going to start with that one. Put it in, lock it in. Or I'm not going to tighten it up really tight in case I have to move things around. Then I'm going to put in these other two here and the one here, and then I'm going to drive them in when everything feels right. We'll get back to you when that's done. Alright, so after doing everything possible to clean the electrical connections for the ignition system, the only thing left that could be wrong with it is the coil, which I doubt. And we're moving along, and I thought it'd be interesting to take the spark arrestor off to clean it. Inspect it for carbon, which no doubt it probably has. It's pretty frozen in there though. So I'm going to have to take some PB Blaster and soak it. We're going to soak it up. A little PB on the threads. And we're going to have to leave it sit for a while. And while we're in here, we're going to pull that out. No doubt, probably has carbon buildup. We'll show you how to clean that off when we come back. What a bear to get this off. The spark arrestor. We did. I think we're going to have to replace it because the screen part's long gone. The spark arresting part, it broke off. If indeed, in fact, I'm right. So we'd have to replace that. So for now, we're not going to worry about it, but you definitely want your spark arrestor. You don't want to set leaves on fire and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm no expert on these, so I might be wrong, but I think that's a spark arrestor, and I think the arresting part broke off, so we need a new one. Yeah, folks, I think we're in this far, and since we're in this far, should probably pull this carburetor, pull it apart, clean it out with carb cleaner, and at least do that much, and then reconnect it. Video is getting kind of long, so it might go into a part 2, and then again it might not, but I think we should get this apart and clean it up. Yeah, okay, we didn't get it this time. I think we'll get it next time. We did a lot, and we found a lot of other problems going on with it. It's kind of like opening a can of worms. But I think everybody understands that. So we have to go to a part 2. And I think we'll get it on the part 2. I'm pretty optimistic. I mean, we worked through it, and that looks pretty good. Let's clean this carburetor up and see where we go from there. It's getting kind of late now. The video's getting long. I'm going to cut it. So until next time, I want to say be safe, be strong, take care. Smash that like and subscribe button if you want to. And until next time, we'll see you later.